Hi. In this video, I'm going to show you an issue that I had with one of my giant pumpkins, one of my main ones out of the 3 that I'm growing in this patch here. I'll show you that issue, give you an update on the plants and the pumpkins. Stay tuned. It is Wednesday, August 13th, and I'm standing next to the 2177 Ford plant and the pumpkin named Cloud Jumper. She is 49 days old today. And I just took an estimate, and she is 1,046 pounds. If you notice, I have a spray bottle with hydrogen peroxide water solution and a bottle of alcohol there. I'll flip you around and show you what's going on with her. Just going to give you a quick look at her plant and how far she has filled in her space. So just as always, that space back there is filled up. All that's terminated. I'm going to try to get through here where I'm not in it. But this space is filling in super nicely. The plant looks very healthy going through here. It's growing really well. The main vine is pretty much up to the fence. If I terminate there, it would reach the fence. And a lot of this has been terminated over here. And then if we come along here, you'll see that this secondary here along the fence is growing well. This vine that's right in the middle here is actually a tertiary, and the vine closest to me is a secondary that goes right near the pumpkin. So this is Cloud Jumper. I'm zoomed out as far as I can. You can kind of see her goofy shape from this angle. It's really high over here. It's actually at least waist height here. But one thing I want to show you is what's going on with her. So a couple days ago I came out, it's probably like 2 days ago. See if I can get this with the shadows here. But a couple days ago I noticed this hole here. It started off with a super small little slit. Just a little slit, and it looked dark behind it. So I just kind of let it do its thing. I put a fan on it, and then I noticed it kept getting bigger, and it was dark behind it. So I was really worried. Excuse me. First off, so this is a normal growth split. These don't worry me at all. But this one, since it looks so dark back behind it, that one had me worried. This right around it, that brown color, I think it's just sapping. It's not soft, it's not rot. And maybe it's rot, but it's not soft. It's like the sap color, and it's pretty rock hard. So what I did is I dabbed it with alcohol. I cleaned it out a little bit. I did try to open it a little bit just to see if it would, I could see the back of it. But as time went on, it would basically just keep opening a little bit more. And the way this works for those of you that don't grow or are new growers, if that split, so if it splits or has a hole at all into the cavity of it, you are disqualified for weigh-offs. And what will happen here, since we're so far away from weigh-offs, is if it's open to the cavity, it will get air in there and it will end up rotting. So if you don't take care of it and basically remove it or close up the gap somehow, it will rot. So what I did last night, this morning, well, first off, is I tried to have this fan on it blowing constantly. And then yesterday I rigged up, see, I'm kind of close to it. I'll move it away from the camera. But I basically took my jack stand here and zip tied a hairdryer on to it and put it on a cool setting and had it blowing directly at that to dry it out. And I like to use a hairdryer on a cool setting because it dries things out quick. Like I use it on like when my cat scratches or puts claw marks into my pumpkin. I'll clean it with alcohol and then I'll use that to dry it out. Not usually rigged up to this jack stand, but it worked pretty slick this time. Usually I hold it if it's on top of the pumpkin. But anyways, back to what I did this morning. I came out here. I was really hesitant to find out. I didn't want to find out because I already kind of knew. But basically, I took this zip tie, and I actually wiped it with alcohol because at that point I didn't know. Now I really don't care. But basically, I poked it into this hole, and we'll see if, I don't even know if this shows up well on camera because of how the sun is. But if you can see how long this zip tie is, I think it's an 11-inch zip tie. So I slowly pushed it, and as you can see, it goes all the way in, which means this hole goes into the cavity. This pumpkin is disqualified for weigh-offs, and it will start rotting here at some point. So my current plan is to leave it for a few days. And then what I'm going to do, I think, so this is kind of a thought because it just found out this morning, is I'm going to cut it open, take out the seeds, because the seeds should be good because it's over 40 days old. I'm going to save the seeds, clean those up, and then I'll probably cut it up right here just into pieces and remove it. It's going to be a lot of pieces. Each piece is going to be somewhat heavy because it's over 1,000 pounds, but I don't really want to open the fence, drive a tractor in here, smash my vines, and just ruin everything. So if I can get a pumpkin to show up, which I think I just removed a bunch yesterday before I found out it was done, but if I can get a pumpkin to show up on some of secondaries or something, I'll probably try to grow something on this plant just for fun. Most likely won't take it to a weigh-off unless it actually grows really fast in this short amount of time. But that is where Cloud Jumper's at. Not great. I still have, at this point, Astrid and Dolores going. So there is Astrid. I'm not going to do an update right now. I'll get day 50 tomorrow. I'll get a weight for that. And then I will, if you see Dolores over there, I will get a day 55 on that in 2 days. And I probably won't get the update out till then, but maybe I'll surprise myself and get around to doing more of that. But just want to give you an update on Cloud Jumper. I'm actually going to show you how to measure one of these as well and kind of explain it, mainly because I've had questions on how you measure them. So I'll go through that real quick here. Okay, since I've had questions on how you measure one of these pumpkins, I just thought I'd go through it quick, especially since I'm out here. But I'm not going to actually probably measure it since I've already done that, but I'll show you the process. So I don't have a tape measure right now. I have one. Actually, I ordered one of those basically fabric tape measures, so the soft ones that won't scratch it. I don't have one. I just have a normal tape measure. So I end up using a rope, wrapping it around, and then measuring the rope. But basically, you want to get, for your first measurement, it's the circumference. You want to get around the widest part of the pumpkin, and you want it level to the ground. So I usually start off by wrapping it down around the stem because it's usually wider under the stem. So I'll basically take it, fish it through over here, and it gets really hard when they get bigger. Some people leave their tape measures in place. But basically, I go around. I know it's probably not level. I don't really care. I'm not measuring it right now. But I'll go like this, and then I'll just take this and I'll measure the rope here. So I'll get my measurement there. This one was 154 inches around today. And then you want the stem to blossom. So basically you go down, straight down from the pumpkin. You don't wrap it around. You don't wrap it around with the pumpkin. You go straight down to the board or the sand, whatever it's sitting on. So you don't want to make sure it's where it's sitting. So you go straight down here. You go over from the stem down to the blossom, and then you'll go down to like basically the bottom of the pumpkin. And then I'll measure that. And I think that was 97. And then you do side to side. So that is basically over on the widest part, highest part, whatever here. And you'll get that measurement. But when you have stuff like this, you don't follow each and every curve. You basically just take it and don't follow in those gaps, because then they'll throw off the measurement. So that side to side measurement was 105. So then I'll show you, I'll try to show you on camera, but you plug it into a calculator, or they have charts that you can look at. There's online calculators, and you can plug it in and it'll tell you your OTT, which is over the top total inches basically, which is what these three measurements were. And then it'll give you a weight as well. So I'll try to show that on camera here and talk through it as I do it. Okay, it looks like I was able to get a screen recording of the calculator, but it wouldn't record my audio. So I'm gonna post it right here and talk through it quick. I go out to the GPC calculator, I plug in the circumference of 154 inches, I plug in the end to end, which is 97 inches, the side to side, which is 105 inches, and then it gives me the total inches, which is the OTT, and then the estimated weight, which is 1,046 pounds. It is Saturday, August 16th, and I'm gonna give you an update of the 2177 Ford. So by now you probably have noticed, and seen on this video, that a couple of days ago, I think, it developed a hole on the blossom end. I'll give you a closer look at that. I haven't actually been up close to it today, but I think it is getting bigger from what I could tell outside here. So I think that hole or split or whatever in the blossom end is getting bigger. I haven't measured it since it split that day. I'm guessing it's still getting bigger, but I am gonna cut it off potentially tomorrow and cut it up and get it out of here. It all depends if I can find time. I wanna do it before anything starts rotting, now that it's opening up more. And then today I also noticed on this plant, it's closest to me, the 2177 Ford, I noticed yellow dots on the leaves, and that is most likely downy mildew. And I'll show you that closer in just a second. So one thing you'll notice in the video coming up here, you won't see it right now, but the other two I did take time. I do that normally around this time of year. I try to clean up the main vine and just get it so there's airflow, less disease, fungus, whatever. Make sure there's no issues with the main vine. But on this one, since the pumpkin split, I kind of neglected it. I'm really debating right now whether I set another pumpkin on this plant or if I just get rid of it, especially since it's got downy mildew going on, or at least that's most likely what it is. I don't have a test or anything, so I'm not gonna say 100% that's what it is, but based on a couple things, I think that's what it is. So you might see it here. There's some spots of it here. I noticed it actually when I was looking. I think I was taking the sheet off today because I just left the sheet on. It was wet and everything. But here's, sorry, I almost fell over. But here's more of what I noticed earlier. Hopefully it picks it up, but all these little dots on the leaves here, that I think is a sign of downy mildew. I am going to probably try to treat that. I don't know. It's part of me wants to just get rid of this plant, not deal with it, not have to worry about that potentially spreading. I assume it can spread from plant to plant, but part of me doesn't want to deal with it. And then the other part of me wants to try to see if I can get a pumpkin, maybe a few 100, 500 pounds off this plant. But I think this potentially too is a earlier sign of downy mildew. I thought it was just old age. Maybe it is. But these leaves down the main vine, I wonder if that was a sign of downy mildew. And now we just got, so I guess I didn't mention it, but we just got over 2 inches of rain in the last 24 hours. And that's when I noticed, after that is when I noticed these spots on the leaves. So I wonder if it's just spreading pretty rapidly now with the humidity, the hot weather, and the rain we've gotten. But I'm gonna come down here Hopefully I'm zoomed out far enough, but I noticed there's more cat tracks all over this pumpkin. This one's hard for the cat to get up here, and so she decides to scratch it all the time. But here is the split. So this has opened up more. I haven't really dug around in there, and I'm not sure if it'll pick it up here, but underneath, I'd have to turn the camera funny, so I'm not going to do that right now. But underneath, it is split down in there as well, it looks like. Yeah. So maybe will get this on video at some point when I cut it up, just to see, so I can show you how thick the rest of the pumpkin was. This is going to be very thin on the bottom, or the blossom here, most likely since it's split, but I'm hoping the rest of it is thicker. So for those of you that have been watching my videos and are very observant, you may notice that normally I'm getting, when I look this direction at Dolores, I'm getting my shadows on Dolores. But this is, normally I film in the morning, but now it's evening, so the sun's setting over on that side, so now the shadows are completely different. But anyway, on to some better news, I guess, then with Cloud Jumper. But this is the 1970.5 Turner, which is Astrid. She is, I think, 52 days old today. I measured her at day 50, so 2 days ago, and she was estimating at 1176. So I had her taped at 1176. I don't remember what the OTT is on that, but her weight estimated at 1176. She was gaining roughly 30, give or take 30 pounds a day. So if it's 30, she's probably, 1230 or so. But overall, her plant is looking decent. There's some older stuff over there, but if this picks it up well, this newer growth here is looking pretty good. She is pushing her plant out, the secondaries. If I bring you over here, her main vine, so here's the thing. Her main vine is right here. I have to get that pumpkin off, but her main vine started poking through the fence here. And since we were predicted to get some super heavy rains, I decided just to curve it. Normally I would have just terminated the main vine and called it good since it reached the fence. But I curved it and let it grow just in case the plant needed to push its energy somewhere. I do have all these secondaries growing, but just in case the plant needed extra vines or something to push the energy to, I didn't want the 2 inches of rain to get pushed right to the pumpkin and blow it up or cause it to split or crack, or so that's why I kept the main vine going. I am probably going to terminate it. It's my current thought, at least, anyway. But another thing is I was talking to somebody today, and even though I knew we were going to get like 2 inches of rain or a decent amount of rain last night and today, I watered my plants, at least the 2 plants that still have a pumpkin going. I watered my plants, and the reason I do that is I don't want to go from too dry to a ton of rain and cause a lot of splits or stress on the pumpkins, or just to push it too hard. So I will make sure my pumpkins are watered ahead of time. It kind of seems odd, like, oh, it's going to rain, I don't need to water, but I don't follow that. I want to make sure they got plenty of water so it doesn't have a negative effect when we get too much at once. So this is the 1931 Turner plant. This is Dolores. She is 56 days old today. I measured her yesterday at 55 days old because I measure every 5 days. And I had her at, I think, 956 for weight. So she's gaining around 20 pounds a day. I'm hoping she keeps that up. I wish it was more. I wish she weighed more. But if she can keep those gains up, she should still get to a somewhat decent size. But if you notice here, her plant is pretty much completely terminated, but it is like really nice looking leaves, nice and green. And it's big, it's filled in, it's over 1,000 square feet. So should be able to push this pumpkin a ways. If you notice right here, I got rid of the weeds that are there. And I will take you and show you the main vine and talk about that a little bit. We are at the 1931 Turner main vine here. So here is the crown. Hopefully you can get a good look at that. It is pretty big and gnarly looking. But there is the main vine. That was covered in weeds before. I cleared it out yesterday and it seems to be pretty healthy. I didn't notice any issues other than like the old leaves along it, but it seems to be fairly healthy. Should get some sun, should get some airflow, and you can kind of see where it connects to the pumpkin there. This is it's got the biggest plant and in my patch, and then the biggest main vine, but isn't the fastest growing pumpkin. So it's kind of interesting that doesn't really correlate. But here's a view. There's just some worn out leaves. And overall, that part of the plant looks good. This is getting a little rough looking, but I'll take you to the 1970.5 Turner main vine now. So as we're walking to the 1970.5 Turner main vine, just wanted to show you this plant and how nice it actually looks. This is the 1931 Turner's Dolores' plant, and it's right where this board is. This on this side is Astrid's plant, and then it kind of goes, this is a dividing line like right here. That is Dolores' plant. And then anything on the side of these weeds, except for way out there, but on this side, that is Astrid's plant. One thing that is interesting, and I don't know if I've talked about it too much before, but a lot of people like to, sorry, I'm opening my fence right now, or my gate, but a lot of people say to set your pumpkin, so your pumpkin, they say to set your pumpkin at least 10 feet out from where you plant. So I have this over top of the crown. It's to protect it from rain. I removed the other one, but they say to set it 10 feet out, at least 10 feet. A lot of people like to go 12, 15, even more. And then a lot of people like to have the ones, so this is main vine, and then these are secondaries. A lot of people like to have like 20 plus secondaries before the pumpkin. This plant, I think has 18 secondaries, so like probably 9 on each side, and it's only maybe 10, if I had to guess, it's maybe 10, 11, maybe 12, but feet out from where it was planted. Whereas Dolores over there, that one is, I think has 20 to 22 secondaries before the pumpkin, and is, I don't know, probably 15 plus feet out from where it's planted. And then Cloud Jumper, I think has like 25 secondaries before the pumpkin, and part of that was because it's a backup, because the main one I had pollinated in the heat and wasn't doing well, so I cut it off. But that one's got, I think, like 25 secondaries before it, and it's probably close to 20 feet out off where it's planted. But it's just so interesting because Astrid is the closest to the crown here, has the least amount of secondaries before it, and is growing the fastest, and has the smallest plant. So just, I mean, you know how people tell you things and like what you should do and what works, but like it doesn't always work that way. It's interesting because this one I kind of neglected early on, and I was like, oh, I'm just going to set it because I want to get an earlier pollination date. Well, anyways, it worked out so far. Hopefully it keeps it going, but just thought that was interesting that my fastest growing kind of goes against some of the stuff that I've been told. Just wanted to give you a quick update on Lucy and Ethel. So Lucy was estimated, I think in the last video, said it was 803 pounds. They don't weigh them at the county fair. She was the only giant pumpkin. She got a blue, which is first place. And then for Ethel, in the carving pumpkin category, she got a blue as well, so got first place. So they both went to the fair. They were there for a few days on display, and now they're back home. Ethel probably go back in our basement, see if she keeps longer in a cooler temp. Lucy, of course, is too big to put the pallet in our basement. So Lucy will probably stay in here for now. I just figure keeping her out of the sun will help her last longer, but I have no clue if she'll last till Halloween since she was only 43 days old when she was picked. But yeah, anyways, that was just an update on Lucy and Ethel. So those two are picked and done for the year and hopefully last for Halloween. So I was trying to figure out this sun here. I was trying to walk with the camera, but the sun being on the opposite side I'm used to, like every way I try to walk, it's like blinding me where I normally walk to get away from the sun. But this is my old patch, the patch I grew in the last 4 years. I have started to, get that further out. I've started to knock down the weeds. I'm hoping to get a cover crop in here soon now that I got it to this point. But I went through here with my weed whacker, weed whip, and my dad gave me a head for my weed whip that had 3 plastic blades on it. And I started doing it in here, and I broke those plastic, I don't even know if they would be called blades, I don't know what they are, but I broke those on some of the weeds in here. So then I went to the string I have, and I think it's just cheap string I bought a few years ago as a giant roll. Well, about every like 10 seconds, I have to keep fixing it. So I gave up on this for now. Probably got to get thicker string. But my plan is to get a cover crop in here finally. I got some of that cleared out. And then I'm going to take you over here. You can't see where I'm going, I guess. But I'm going to take you to where Lucy was growing and kind of explain things on what I think my plan is. So this is where Lucy was growing on that board there. There are a bunch, if I can, maybe can't get them on camera, maybe I can get down here. But there are a bunch of pumpkins. There's one actually right there. So that pumpkin would have been open pollinated if it took. I'm thinking about taking this and kind of trying to maneuver the vines. I know some of them are buried in there, but I'm thinking about maneuvering the vines here and basically growing it out in this open space. I removed the plant that was out here in front of the pumpkin since I had cut the main vine to remove that anyway. But anyways, you can see the vines are over there. I got to throw them in the pasture with the cows. But I think I'm going to try to work the plant over here and see if I can get one growing. I guess we'll see. I'm trying to figure out how much effort I want to put into it. But I'm going to take you quick to my watermelon. I don't think my grafted one is probably doing much. It doesn't look like it's doing much. The plant doesn't look good. It's buried in weeds. It had a tiny watermelon on it. That didn't do much. So I'm gonna, instead of just trying to show you behind me, I'm gonna flip the camera around and show you my watermelon. Okay, so this is my giant watermelon plant. So this is where it was planted. And a couple days ago, this whole thing was weeds. So the plant was growing in the weeds. I thought it was a good idea, and maybe it wasn't, but I thought it was a good idea to get all the weeds out. So I carefully pulled the weeds, like lifted the vines, held them, pulled the weeds out from under, have it all laying out here. But it's not really, I was hoping it would like perk back up and stand up. Like some of this over here is, but most of the plants just kind of laying down. So I don't know. I don't know if that was a good thing or not that I weeded it. Maybe it just wasn't strong because the weeds were holding it up. And it didn't have to have strong vines and leaf stalks and stuff. But I don't know. I've never grown giant watermelon before, so I honestly don't know what I'm doing with this. I did get told today that walking around and compacting the soil is really not ideal for watermelons. So I really probably did bad, not good stuff for them because I was all over in here. But I'll try to take you to the watermelon. I haven't lifted this up for a few days. I don't know if it's really getting much bigger. It's not really giant, but so this is the watermelon. It's kind of goofy shape over here. Honestly don't know if it's growing that much. But yeah, I guess I'll just keep it going and see if we can at least get a ripe watermelon. I don't spray this at all because I want to eat the watermelon. So I'm just kind of letting it do its thing and hopefully nothing like bugs or fungus takes it out. I definitely feel like there was more I wanted to show you with the pumpkins. Just can't think of it right now. So if there's anything you want to see, you have questions on, you want to see in a future video, just let me know. Leave a comment. I like to film stuff that you guys are interested in. I have questions about that I can show. So just leave a comment. Let me know how your season's going. If you grow, if you want to grow. So yeah, just leave me that. This is where the video is going to wrap up. Thank you so much for following along. Thanks for watching this video.